Hello everyone, this is the Echo Core Concept Explanation Lecture. In this session, we will solve questions 41 through 45. If you look at the question, it asks which of the options is not related to color Doppler. First of all, the color Doppler technique uses the pulse wave Doppler technique. Next, multigate is also a correct option. Now, option C is important. The signal value obtained from color Doppler is characterized by being the mean velocity value, so it is not related to the maximum or minimum velocity. You should understand that the term mean velocity is associated with color Doppler. The incorrect option is D. Yes, if you look at option D, it says that aliasing does not occur, but earlier in option A, I explained that color Doppler uses the pulse Doppler technique. Since aliasing does occur in pulse Doppler, option D can be considered incorrect. So let's select option D as the unrelated answer and move on. Let's move on and look at the next question. This question is asking about the types of color flow Doppler maps. If you look, it is displayed in green and is asking about the display method used when vortices appear. First of all, when these two expressions appear, there are some related keywords. The correct answer is option C. This variance map is used to represent turbulent flow and vortices. Let's review this while watching the related video. Yes, the standard color Doppler we know uses a method based on hue. Approaching the probe is displayed in red and moving away is displayed in blue. This can be seen as representing the direction of blood flow. Next, the variance map is used to determine whether the flow is laminar and smooth or if turbulence and vortices are forming in a narrow area. If you look, the areas shown in red and blue represent the colors used to indicate smooth laminar flow. The areas expressed in bright yellow and green are techniques used to indicate rapidly flowing turbulence or vortices. Usually these are used on both sides. You can think of this type of color map as a variance map. So, as I explained in the previous question, just remember that the keyword green and the appearance of turbulent flow are related to the variance map. Let's move on and look at the next question. Looking at the question, it says that you want to increase the frame rate of color flow Doppler. So it explains that you want to improve the temporal resolution. To improve those aspects, you need to decrease the parameters below, but the question is asking which one is not related to this. Let's take a look at each item to see what they're about. If you decrease the parameters listed here, the frame rate and temporal resolution should increase. For the field of view, if you reduce the size rather than having a large one, the area that needs to be displayed becomes smaller, which leads to an increase in frame rate. Next, for image depth, setting the depth to a shallower area rather than a deeper structure can also increase the frame rate. Similarly, when the line density is lower rather than higher, the frame rate increases. So, the related parameters are A, C, and D. Looking at option B, color gain is not directly related to the frame rate shown here. Let's move on and look at the next question. Since it's a simple question, let's go straight to the answer. This question is asking about the Doppler angle that allows you to obtain the maximum velocity. The answer is option A. When there is no angle and the probe is positioned parallel to the vessel, you can obtain the highest blood flow velocity value. As you can see in the illustration, when there is no angle and the direction of blood flow and the probe are aligned, you can obtain the highest velocity information. Next, when there is an angle, the measured blood flow velocity will appear somewhat reduced, and when the angle reaches 90 degrees, you can consider that no velocity will be detected. Therefore, during the examination, it is important to maintain the angle at less than 60 degrees as this is necessary for Doppler studies. An important point to note is that at 90 degrees, velocity cannot be detected. Let's move on and look at the next question. This question is about the high-pass filter in Doppler. It is asking about which components are removed when this filter is used. The correct answer is option B. You can understand that signals with high amplitude are removed when a high-pass filter is used. Through these simple problem-solving exercises, you just need to check the basic concepts. That concludes our problem-solving for now. Next time, we will continue with the explanations from where we left off. See you next time. Thank you.